Oh, hey everyone. Welcome to another episode of First Canada Live. Today is going to be such a good show. I am pumped to be here. I'm your host, Karthik, and we have everything going on. Everything, Everybot, something like that. It's going to be a great show, but I don't want to waste any time here. Let's just get started. As Canadians, it is important to recognize the land of which we are a part. As we gather for this meeting, physically dispersed and virtually constructed, let us take a moment to reflect upon the meaning of place, and in doing so, recognize the various traditional lands on which we celebrate today. We acknowledge the elders and youth, past, present, and emerging, of all land on which we work and live. We honor the ancestral spirits with gratitude and respect. We acknowledge this land out of respect for the Indigenous nations who have cared for Turtle Island, also called North America. The Indigenous people have been gifted the role of caretakers of this land before the arrival of settler peoples until today. But most importantly, we remember the history of these lands and the people that have been tainted by poor treatment and a lack of friendship with the First Nations who called Canada home before it was given this name. This history is something that everyone is affected by. We are all treaty people in Canada. We all have a shared history to reflect upon, and each of us is affected by this history in different ways. Our past defines our present, but if we move forward as friends and allies, it does not define our future. All right, to get us started today, I'd like to welcome our co-host for today's show. She's a student on FRC Team 1305, Ice Cube, and a member of the First Canada Youth Council. It is Michelle. What up, Michelle?
I'm good. What's up with you?
I am just really pumped about everything. We got robots going on. We got a new season. We got a new game. We talked about it last week, but we're going to talk even more about today. Hey, Mr. Handsome's back.
Yes, he is. He's wearing the 2015 Recycle Rush shirt today.
Nice. What does Mr. Handsome think of the new game, Rapid React, presented by the Boeing
He
Company?
loves it. He thinks it's going to be, great to watch. And he thinks if he got down there, he could definitely get the ball into the hub. He thinks he
Oh, yeah. He thinks he could be a human player this year. He looks a little stiff, little stiff to me. I don't know.
Let's see. Might need to loosen up a little bit, but
yeah, gotta loosen up. Hey, we'll get there. So, Michelle, on today's show, we got a lot of fun stuff happening. We have our wrap up of all our FTC qualification events with Lisa Ramraj, and we are doing the live reveal of the 2022 Everybot. So that is going to be super hype. Because the Everybot, we're just talk all about it, but it's just like a simple build to get teams started or on their season. And, Michelle, lots of teams right now in Ontario have a lot of restrictions. They can't meet as often as they'd like to. So this is a real recipe. And for teams all over the world, it's just like building an FRC robot can be hard. But if you go simple, you can have so much more time to refine everything. You can take a really simple design and go really far with it. And so that's one of the many things I love about the Everybot. So it's going to be great. And for everyone who's watching, if you have questions about the Everybot or FTC events or anything you want us to talk about, drop them in chat. We'll do our best to answer them. So just drop the questions in there. But just remember, hey, what we're here for. We're here to celebrate everything that's good in the FIRST community. So let's remember our gracious professionalism and keep it on the high. And so, Michelle, there's a lot going on during build season. It's stressful, because there's just, you're really busy and you got to build a robot. It's hard. So I think it's a time to get to our youth council wellness moment so people can remind themselves of what they can do to, stay chill.
Yes. So today, my wellness moment, I think my moment today, it's the considering learning a new skill that can be useful. I know I come on here a lot and I talk about all my little crafts that I like doing, but I really am a bit of a crafter. I love, sitting down, and now I've also found the joy of audiobooks as well. So I put one on. I couldn't stop. I listened to an entire book all in one day.
What was that?
Sorry?
What book was that?
Oh, it was Brave New World.
Like that. Oh, that's a good
Brave
one.
New World. I had it sitting on my shelf for years, and I'm finally okay, it's time to read this one.
It has been so long since I read that book.
Yeah, wow. It was kind of wild. Anyway, so learning a new skill that could be useful for me, that is sewing. So I know I've sewn up my sister's shirt. It had a hole in it. My mom's sweater, the pocket kind of came ripped off. But not only is it useful, it can also be a little bit fun too. So I brought my little friend here. Now, he's a little rough around the edges, but nobody's perfect. He's my little frog friend that I've sewn up.
Wow.
Hello.
I wish I
So,
was thinking I would have brought my I made a beaver. His name is Brutus. I made him in grade 7, and I would have brought Brutus here. Brutus the
but they
beaver.
could have been friends.
They would have been friends. Brutus liked to flap his tail to get attention. Very cute. So I love that. And I think it's just important to have something that you can get, escape with as a little bit of a distraction. It's a hobby. And it's not just that's like super useful too. Like most of my hobbies aren't useful. It's like calculating tiebreakers for NFL games and stuff like that. Not particularly useful, but hey, it's what we do. Thanks, Michelle. That is super cool. And now it's time for our news update. So what's going on with First Canada? Well, First Canada Live is here every week. That's right. Weekly shows every Tuesday night. So pop in for all the good stuff that we're going to be doing. Next week, I think we got the Youth Council coming on to talk about mental health with Kids Help Phone, which is a really cool partnership. So that'll be exciting. For all our FRC teams here in Ontario, you want to play more than you already are. If you want to go play at your third event of the season in the district competitions, guess how much it costs now, Michelle?
Oh, how much?
0, free. You can go to an
Whoa.
extra event for free right now. So chance to spend some more time on your robot, tweak things, get things going, just another opportunity to compete, be around people. Hopefully it'll be good stuff. But then also you can help support all of our events right now, because some of our events are like low in registration, and hey, you can help make an event happen. So it'll be really good. It's free. Like there's no better price than free. So, well, I mean, I guess people can start paying you, but let's not be real. Let's be real here. Michelle, are you graduating this year?
Yes, I am.
So
No,
I guess
but I'm stuck. I'm wondering, what scholarships can I apply to?
right. What scholarships could you apply to? Well, First Canada has a bunch of scholarships, but the deadlines are coming up soon. For example, the Don Bosey Leadership Scholarship and the Canadian Women in STEM Award and the First Canada Indigenous Scholarship are all have their applications due on January 31st. So make sure you get them in. Michelle, are you applying for any of those scholarships?
Yes, I think I will.
Okay,
Yeah.
so get your application in. Time is running out, and remember, all you students out there who are working on your applications, it's not just you who's working on your applications. Your mentors and your teachers who have to write reference letters. Make sure you've asked them early so they can get that done in time. I speak as a mentor who's gotten many. Hey, can you write this reference for me? I'll be like, of course. You're such an amazing student. I want you to get the scholarship. When's their due? It's like 3 hours. You're not amazing anymore. I hate you. I hope you don't get. I don't actually say that. Well, maybe I said it to like one kid, but no. But yeah, apply, and apply early. So get that in there, and then also be mindful. So many schools have first scholarships of their own. Some you are automatically applied for with your OUAC application. Others you have to apply to specifically. So make sure you look all that stuff up. Michelle, you ever feel like, our team is doing okay, but it'd be great if we could get some advice from other teams?
Yeah, that's happened a few times, You don't want to reach out, find
Yeah.
something.
And you're like, how do I reach out? I don't know where anyone is. And, so we have an FRC Ontario team Slack, and we're dropping the invite into the chat, and it's a great place to go. There are a bunch of team members and their mentors. There's some students in there. The great Armand is in there answering people's questions. And so join up for that Slack, and you can ask questions, about your robot design, especially once you actually can meet and start building and you were in the troubleshooting phase and you're like, why doesn't this work? There's lots of people who can help you out in there. So I highly recommend it. Also, if you got questions just in general, you're struggling with your design, you just want like someone to talk to about stuff in like a more controlled environment, you can check out the Team 1114 for the last, I think it's like 8 years now, has partnered with First Canada to do an online help desk. And so you can just go to frchelpdesk.ca. You can ask questions about strategy, robot design, how to best make your bumpers, how to make a pick list, all that sort of good stuff. And someone relatively useful will answer you. So it'll be good. So there's just a lot of fun stuff there. So Michelle, did you go back to school today or yesterday? Was this your first day back?
Yes, just yesterday.
How did it go?
It was pretty good, but it was a bit of a transition as well, back into in-person.
I'm sure, and it's got to have been hard to be going back and forth and not knowing what's going on, but it's good that you're in. And how's your team doing right now?
Well, my team's doing pretty good. We're meeting virtually a lot, getting our chairmans ready, planning our strategy, our design as well.
Yeah, it's all the good stuff. It's like it's so exciting to actually have a new game again and like to go through the brainstorming and all that fun stuff. It's just like the favorite part of the season. So anything you're looking forward to that's coming up anytime soon?
I'm looking forward to maybe being able to meet in person in a very small group as well. But uh, also just getting back into the swing of things after the off season as well. I'm also really enjoying working on chairmans and everything as well too. So
Yeah, and
I'm kind of doing already what I was looking forward to. So
right, yeah, that's a big piece of it. For those of you who have watched the show in the past, you know that Michelle's co-hosted many times. It's like fifth or sixth time now, Michelle. It feels you've been on a lot. But we talked about a unique fact about Michelle. You've never actually been to an FRC event.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
And finally, it might be happening. It might actually be happening. And so,
yes.
So like, what's the thing that you're most excited about going to your first event, your first event?
I'm excited for, the thrill of the robot competing in real time. Maybe something goes wrong, something happens. Just like that real time competition and getting to play with other robots as well instead of just recording a video.
This will not be my first event. I've been to a handful of these before, and I am super excited just to get back into it. I think my favorite moments are there's always like one robot at a competition that just does something incredible. Maybe sometimes it happens in a practice match when everyone sees the robot for the first time hit their full stride and the crowd just goes, whoa. It has that whoa moment. And like, I just looking forward to like the first moment like that where everyone gets super excited and pumped about what's going on. And also I am really looking forward to like just kicking the glass and just having a good time as an MC. So, oh wait, I'm not supposed to kick the glass anymore. Even the robots can slam full speed into it, swinging from the bar, but little old me cannot. Just saying where we're at. But hey, I think it's time. You ready to get going with the rest of the show?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so I think to do that, let's come back in just a couple minutes. But before we do that, a word from one of our sponsors, Enbridge. All right. Thank you, Enbridge, for all your support for all of our teams. I know a lot of our teams get credits from Enbridge, so that's really exciting. So I think it's time to talk FTC. And so, Michelle, this year you helped out with an FTC event, volunteered?
Yes, I'm on an FTC team.
Oh, that's right. That's right. How did your team do at your events?
We did pretty well. I think maybe we'll get to see a little bit.
Oh, yeah, we'll see, because we're handing out some awards today. Well, not handing out, we're recognizing our award winners for teams who've already won. But we can't do any of that without our next guest. She's the First Canada alum and the First Canada FTC, that's First Tech Challenge Program Manager, Lisa Ramraj. Hello, Lisa.
Hello, everyone.
Lisa, when were you on the show last?
Was it a couple of weeks? Was it last week? But a couple of weeks ago? I actually don't remember anymore. Oh, it was the last episode of before the break. That's what.
Did we make any big announcements on that show? Specifically about you?
No, we did not.
We did. Michelle, Lisa's engaged.
Stop it.
Whoa!
Yes, it finally happened. Like we've been waiting for like 3 years for this to happen. Oh, I guess
3 years.
Well, CNE 2019.
Yeah,
Was when I
probably.
started
Yeah,
harassing you.
that's when the jokes started. Yes.
Yes.
That's when things like this at every event where he would talk about, am I going to get engaged at the event?
All seriousness, congratulations, Lisa. We are all very, very
Thank you.
happy for you. And I'm sure people are glad for this saga to be over. But now we can start asking. So, Lisa, when's the wedding?
Oh, goodness. Not anytime soon.
Okay, all jokes aside, we've had a great FTC qualifier season in Ontario so far, Lisa. Do you want to give people a little bit of an overview about what's happened so far?
So in November and December, we had a total of 8 different qualifiers with like up to 20 teams each. Like our teams did amazing in like we did remote competitions. So all of them, all of them played in their own area, and it was really awesome to see the variety between the teams, like when it comes to their design, their strategy, even their field setup. It was really awesome to see the teams persevere through their different ever-changing restrictions and limitations, but some of these teams did amazing, and we're going to get to see some of the videos of these teams.
That's really interesting because, I think when we have in-person events, like it's a little bit easier for there to be more cross-team collaboration, and you can really see robots up close, and there's a little bit more design convergence and that sort of thing. But you said you saw like a really big wide array of designs. So like, what was the coolest design that you saw this year, Lisa?
My God, there were like 2 main ones. There's like one of these robots that just has like a telescoping arm. I'm not actually sure if it's in the videos that we're showing, but that was awesome. Just watching, like seeing how they programmed it to like move the arm as they're driving. I was just like, that is amazing. And then just seeing like how teams used elevators versus arms, and like all the different types of grabber mechanisms for the different cargo. It was really cool.
And so, Lisa, you've been the program manager now since the fall, but your roots as a student, you were an FRC student, and you went through all of that. So now, like in this hindsight, like, don't you wish you had a chance to be on an FTC team when you were in high school?
I definitely do, because like personally, I feel like FTC is such a usable platform to like when you show students, oh, we have a robotics program. Like for FRC, I know at least at my team, the first thing we did was we had to do safety training with them, because like there's a lot of like complex machinery and like a lot of safety things involved in FRC. And like, not to say that that's not involved in FTC, but it's such a smaller scale that like you can get them to put together a drivetrain and get a robot moving in like their first meeting. That's actually what I did when I got my FTC kit. I had one of a fellow mentor come over, one of my friends, and like he helped me get it all set up, and it's like the robot was moving within like a couple hours. And just like that immediate reaction, that satisfaction of like, I'm on a robotics team and I got a robot moving, like this is so cool. And like, what's next? What can I make next? Like, I love that for this program.
I think what I love about it specifically is that you can just like try again, and rebuild and redo all these sorts of things. And it's just like, wow, this is like super, you can do it so quickly, because yeah, in FRC, it's harder to iterate. And Michelle, this was your first year on an FTC team, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So like, what was your experience like?
So I did join a little bit late, but I got to see, how it was coded. I was really impressed. It's like the FTC sim in real life. So that was like, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's real. So I also really like the engineering portfolio piece of it as well, like the freedom you have to write what you want to say about your team in there. So I really enjoyed it, and I really loved seeing, how everyone else on the team really grew to love it too. And for a lot of people, it was their first introduction into robots, or like next step after Lego League. So, and a lot of people have really loved it and have come over to the FRC team as well. So now they have all these great skills to bring over.
Progression of programs in action. It's a good stuff here. So now, there were how many events this year, Lisa? 8?
We had 8 qualifiers.
Fire events. That's amazing, considering just 2 years ago there was one single event, right? And so how many teams do we have in the province?
We have approximately 89 teams officially in the province.
It's growing fast.
But yeah, it is definitely growing fast, considering the fact that like there are a lot of teams that were unable to officially sign up this year because they weren't sure if they'd be able to meet and stuff like that. But all of those teams are committed to running and competing next year so as well. So like I trying to figure out how many events going to need next year, because we went from 2019 to 2020 to 2020, and then now we have 8, and then it's like have to do some projection to figure out how many I need next year.
Going to be a lot. That's for sure. But so,
Yeah.
Let's get to the most exciting part of all of this, and let's take a look at some match videos. And so up first, we got team 18913, the Iskanders from Ottawa, who put up a high score on the season of 162. So let's take a look at this match. And Lisa, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on here?
All right. So they are in auto. That piece, that block is called the cargo. So they scored it on the middle level. And if you look at the bottom, you can see that there's like a cone thing, and it's actually covering a hat, and it's actually covering like one of those squares, which is like they get at more points for putting it on the middle level in auto.
Is that like literally like a bucket they have on the field?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, hey, where did the duck go? Quack.
Yeah, so they actually they spun that duck into the field and were able to pick it up, and they scored it in the top, which is amazing. All like 2 scored elements in auto.
Okay, it looks like we're coming into teleop now.
Yep, and we're gonna watch them. I love their driving. It's just so smooth, and you can see like as they're backing up, they raise their arm at the same time to decrease how much time they need to do their cycles.
And they got a Mechanim drive there, so we got some side. They're actually going sideways with the Mechanim robot, which sometimes doesn't always happen. So
yeah, super impressive. And it's like the cycles are very methodical. It's like we're gonna go here, and like you can tell that they practice this over and over to get it right, to be able to score the most amount of game pieces as possible.
Is fantastic stuff, and they're just cycling so efficiently.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. Like all of the videos I watched of this team, like this is what they're doing. Like some are just more perfected than others. Like you can tell that they practice this, and as we know, like once you build the machine, you need to practice and like need to perfect your gameplay, and that's exactly what they did here.
And Lisa, this looks like this is someone's house, right? So there was the flexibility for teams to build a field in whatever kind of setting, and they could build a field in a lot of different ways, right?
Yeah.
That's
did you see that? I think they were going for the top, but like it happened to fall in the middle. So like they still scored that piece. And now it's like the end game portion where they have to deliver as many ducks as possible. Quack. You're gonna love this.
Quack.
Yes, everyone listening, Karthik's gonna do that for every time a duck hits the floor.
Quack. Hey, Lisa, we got a question in chat, Quack, that's wondering if the driver might be using a PS4 controller. Quack.
I have no idea.
Quack. But it's possible to use a PS4 controller in FTC.
I believe so.
Yeah, I believe so as well. That's a lot of ducks. They're just wow.
And they got back to their warehouse. I really should know the name of this, but they got back there. That's extra points. I'm like blanking right now, but that's extra points. So they got back there, they're secure, they're fully in. That's amazing.
Well, okay, well, that was a fabulous match there. So I think that's the kind of excitement of it. There's a solid mid game, there's solid cycling that goes on there. There's definitely tangible autonomous mode, and of course the end game with the ducks, the quacks, and everything like that.
Yes.
Michelle, are you a fan of the ducks?
Yes, the first time you said quack when it hit the floor, I'm like, who said that? What just happened? Did someone say quack?
Get used to
Michelle,
it.
He does this every time. Every time we're in a meeting, watching a video, or talking about FTC events or something, every time we mention a duck, he says quack or types it in chat.
To be fair, I only do it when there's a duck mentioned. It's not like I'm just doing non sequiturs, I was in a staff meeting this morning. People were mooing, so just saying, Swaggy P, we saw you. Okay, that was a lot of fun. Do you want to take a look at another match video? We good to do this?
I do.
All right, we got this match video from team 18920, Robotic Storm from Richmond Hill, Ontario, who put up a big high score of 179. Hey, we got a quack in chat. I love it. All right, let's get this started now. Let's go.
All right, so you can see their little hat is on the bottom level.
Is that a Lego head? A giant Lego head they use as a hat?
I think so.
Wow.
And then so they went to score, then they delivered the duck, and then they went to get another
Quack.
piece of cargo. And check this out. They're gonna score it before time runs out. This
Ooh,
is
there's the
like,
telescope you were telling us
and then
about.
and then they go straight, like getting themselves set up right away to pick up another game piece. That's so efficient. I love it.
It's really nice. Really nice little field they got set up there with the hardboard. This is good.
Yeah, highly recommend. Like, so as part of to make this season as accessible as possible, it wasn't mandatory to put a field perimeter around, but it definitely is like strategically advantageous to have it, because then you can line up against the wall.
The classic autonomous mode of lining up against the wall to straighten yourself out. This is, we got just a reminder out there, it's team 18920 Robotics Storm out on the field from Richmond Hill, Ontario. And look at them cycling back and forth. This is some really good driving. I really appreciate that these teams are actually taking advantage of the Mecanum drive and, you know, going sideways with it. And Mecanum is very popular in FTC.
Yeah.
It's much more viable with the motor power available. So that's really cool. I'm impatient. I'm ready for endgame. I just want some more ducks.
All right, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this. I just love how they're turning almost at the same points. You can tell that they practice this again and again to perfect it. And just, you know, like the fact that the shipping hub is like pretty balanced right now, that it gets them even more points.
Oh, that's
So
right.
they're
Because
being
having
very
shipping hub balanced, there's like a 10-point bonus, right?
Check this out.
Okay, I'm watching.
Ooh.
Watch.
Okay, strafen.
And
oh, they capped it, the topper.
Yeah, right?
Nicely done. Okay, now we're getting to the good
Oh
stuff.
goodness.
All right, here we go. Come on, spin that. Come on. Quack. 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 Quack.
And you can see like some teams decided to
Quack.
put the duck closer to the center
Quack.
of the wheel, and some of them
Quack.
put it further away. And like you can see that
Quack.
it feels like it impacts how fast it goes, and then they get their extra points in end game before the timer goes.
Wow.
And like I love that in their video they had the timer, so you could see that there was like 2 seconds left on the clock, and they made it back. It was awesome.
I appreciate the driver who just like, yep, we're good here.
Exactly.
So in FTC, Lisa, like we talked about these robots, but there's other cool things that they have to do. And one of the things is that they can submit a video of their control system for the Controls Award. And we actually have a Control Award video from team 19523, Keone from North Bay. Michelle, is that your team?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, right. Here we go.
Woohoo.
Let's take a look at Keone. Oh, quack. So this is their autonomous mode, right? Michelle, you tell us what's happening here.
Oh, so a lot of things, this went through a lot of iterations. Now this was, most of this was already done by the time I joined the team, but our programmer our programmer, did anyone else see the colors go weird for a second? Anyway, it's already over.
Autonomous mode is so fast. That's one of the challenges with autonomous mode. You have very little time to try and do a lot of things, and it just like it goes that. But that's actually kind of cool, Michelle, because it kind of shows just how fast it is. Like humans can't get a full thought out in an autonomous mode, but you got to make your robot do like I saw them do 4 distinct tasks there, so that's really really neat, and that the teams have to document it like that. So Lisa, we also, we're talking a lot about everything that's happening with FTC, but FTC Sim, which Michelle referred to earlier, is the program that we have, which allows teams to simulate the FTC coding environment. And there's been some recent updates, right?
Yep. So over the winter break, we actually added the first tech challenge competition field and the class pack fields, which means, and we added both the Rev class pack robot and a Studica competition robot. Like if you remember at the beginning of this FTC season, Studica released a robot in like the first couple of days. And essentially we took the top of their robot, like the elevator part, and we put it on a 4-wheel drivetrain, and we put that into the sim. And now I'm going to show you what this looks like.
I am pumped.
So essentially, this is what the classroom in FTC Sim looks like. And as you can see, this is the competition game. And if I zoom in over here, you will see the Studica robot in their nice blue, very branded metal. And I have to admit, I did not write all this code myself. I essentially followed Swaggy P's tutorials. And if you click this button that I'm hovering over, guide, you can it actually links to a YouTube video that actually takes you through like the basics. So I'm going to show you what I did by following his tutorial. I'm going to run these blocks.
You almost ran over a duck, I think.
Yeah. And so I was able to score on the top actually. And if I reset, just like in the actual game, this duck changes positions. So now you see it's at the bottom, and I'm just going to play this one more time. And I
Nicely
score.
done.
And oh, it's not like respawning. I wanted to show that the physics actually works. So like if the duck is at the top, it actually hits it away, but it's kind of mean. It's a like,
yeah, that's not okay.
Anyway, so I was playing around with this to put all the code in, and I was like, after I scored, I was like, I wonder if I can go get one of those blocks over there in the warehouse and score it. So then I just sat on here and entertained myself, and I added this code. So now you're gonna watch me score another block. So here's the original one.
There you go, going up for the drop, boom.
Woo.
Going back, going all the way to the warehouse, grabbing a block. Let's see if they can do it in time. Coming back, curving around the backside and dropping it into top level. Bam, shalam, nicely done.
And it's actually really cool. If I like ran into this, then like the blocks would actually shake. Like it's possible for them to fall off. Like it's simulated physics. It's not going to react. See, did you see that? Did you see how it fell? I did not do anything. That block actually fell.
Sorry,
I
there
don't
go
even...
the points. There go the points. It's all messed
so,
up.
So essentially what I have to do is before I let go, I actually have to drive closer to it to make sure that it actually stays on, which I absolutely love. And there are, I'm going to save this for a second and go back into it. There are, leave this, just going to go back to the main area. If you go, this is like FTC Sim's main webpage. If you go here, FTC 2021, there are actually 3 different fields. So like I said, there's the class pack field with the Rev class pack robot. There's a competition field with the Revs class pack robot. And there is the competition field with the Studica robot. So
amazing. We could probably dive deeper into FTC Sim and talk about it forever, but we do have other stuff to get to. But Lisa, how do people learn about FTC Sim? How do they sign in?
You can go to FTC Sim, ftcsim.org. Hopefully we can put it in chat, and you can make an account. It's free to sign up, and you can start from scratch or go through the tutorials to like build up your skills in the puzzles.
Start from scratch. Nice pun there. The scratch-based coding language. I like it.
Did not do that on purpose.
Now, to wrap things up here, to wrap up what's happened with FTC, I think it's time to recognize our award winners from all the different events. So let's take a look. I'm excited here to see all these award winners. Maybe see Michelle's team up there. All right, for the Windsor First Tech Challenge Remote Qualifying Tournament. The design award goes to team 19498 Devilotics. Second place design 18158 The Futuristics. Third place design 19500 Team A. Motivate award first place 1953 Unruly Salad. That's what happens when your lettuce is grumpy. It's just like, I'm tired of being the most boring vegetable in the world. Okay. And second place 18158 The Futuristics. Third 19498 Devilotics. Control award first place 16399 Quantum Robotics, and 18913 Iskanders. Innovate award first place 19532 Team B, second to 19498 Devilotics, third to 19500 Team A. Connect award 19534 Chewy Steaks, and second place 19533 Unruly Salad. That's like the worst meal. You get an unruly salad, your lettuce is yelling at you because it's like, oh, I'm the useless vegetable. And then your steak is chewy. No one wants that. Lisa, how did the judges allow those two to be put together? I'm filing a protest about this terrible meal. That's not the Connect Award anymore. It is the Terrible Meal Award. Sorry, folks, I get distracted. The Think Award, first place, team 19500 Team A, 19532 Team B, 16399 Quantum Robotics. See, if your team's like Team A or Team B, I can't make any jokes, so it just goes a little bit faster. Top ranked teams from first to fourth place: 1893 Iskanders, 19498 Devilotics, 19500 Team A, 1639 Quantum Robotics, and then the Inspire Award, first place 18158 the Futuristics, 19498 Devilotics, and 19500 Team A. And teams advancing to provincials, first place 18158 the Futuristics, 1893 Iskanders, and 19498 Devilotics. Congratulations to all our teams from the Windsor qualifying tournament. Next up, the Water
Lou.
First Tech Challenge remote qualifying tournament. See, Michelle, if you go to Waterloo, you can do this.
And I would know.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you just go to an FRC event at Waterloo, this chant happens like every 10 minutes. It's absolutely amazing. Judges Award goes to Team 19473 Royal Thunder Robotics, and the Design Awards Team 18960 Lowell and Edit Yellow. Motivate Award first place 2105 Lowell and Edit Black and White, 19485 Oakbotics FTC 19485. Oh, their team numbers in there twice. That's a cool way of naming your team. It's like recursion. And for the Innovate Award, 19465 Chain Breakers and 16415 Lowell and Edit Orange. Connect Award 18844 the Pro Teens and 16413 Lowell and Edit Blue. And the Think Award 18911 everyone's favorite breakfast, waffles. Top ranked teams at this event in Waterloo, we got 18844 Pro Teens, 16397 Relatively Quantum, 19473 Royal Thunder Robotics, and 18911 Waffles. And finally, the Inspire Award went to team 16397 Relatively Quantum, second and third place to 19465 Chain Breakers, and 18911 Waffles. Chain Breakers. I wonder if they're like a Dark Soul. That's like a deep cut. A few people will get that one. Dark Soul's like a big chain breaker company. Okay, advancing to provincials as well. 16397 Relatively Quantum and 18844 Pro Teens. Our next event, Hamilton, Steel Town. Judges Award to 19491 Masked Gator. Thank you, Gator, for wearing a mask. We appreciate that. Design Award 19474 Griffin Gold, 19472 Griffin Green. Motivate Award first place 19447 Team Titans 2 Electric Boogaloo, and 19496 Wally. That's a lot to handle. Control Award to 19520 Amazon Warriors 2. Innovate Award 19446 Team Titans Go, 19491 Mask Gator, and 19447 the Boogaloo is back. Connect Award Team 19487 Team Mindkey, 19520 Amazon Warriors 2. Think Award 19836 Dr. X Academy. You got to throw up the X. Electric Boogaloo is back in second, and Team Titans Go in third. And our top ranked teams, 16424 the Atomic Dishwashers, another awesome team name. 19520 Amazon Warriors 2, 19487 Team Mindkey, 19491 Mask Gator. And the Inspire Award also goes to 16424 the Atomic Dishwashers, followed by Dr. X Academy and Team Titans Go. And qualifying for provincials, the Atomic Dishwashers, Dr. X Academy, Amazon Warriors 2, and Team Titans Go. Next up, all the way to the North Bay First Tech Challenge remote qualifying tournament. The Compass Award was awarded to Ms. Anetta from Team 18846 Braybotics. Design Award 19522, the Probionics 19836 Dr. X Academy. Motivate Award 19490 SMT Titans, the Titanobots. Hey, up there from Malvern, just over there. Actually, that way. I got to point in the right direction. 18844 Pro Teens. Got to rep my Scarborough homies, you know? It's like, what up? 19523 Keone. Hey, Michelle, congratulations on your Control Award. 19468 FTC Alpha Dogs, and 18920 Robotic Storm. Connect Award 19488 Ice T, 18844 the Proteins, and the Think Award 16399 Quantum Robotics. Top ranked teams: Robotic Storm, Proteins, Ice T, and Keone. Inspire Award, Braybotics takes it home, followed by the Proteins and Keone. And advancing to provincials, Brabotics, Robotic Storm, Keone, Ice-T, Quantum Robotics. Michelle, is it Keone or Keone?
Keone.
Keone. Sorry, Keone. My bad. I'll get you next time. Hey, Scarborough First Tech Challenge Remote Qualifying Tournament. I'm all in here. David and Mary Thompson, thanks for hosting that one for us. 19,500 Team A for Design Award. 18,158 The Futuristics, and 16,418 Crestwood Tech Lions. Roar. Control Award, 19,520 Amazon Warriors 2. Innovate Award, Atomic Dishwashers, 16,424. And second place, 18,809, the Atomic Liquid Tabs. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds awesome. Connect Award, 19,485 Oakbotics, FTC, 19,485. And Think Award, 19,498 Devilotics. So you might be hearing some teams a couple times because teams actually go to 2 qualifying tournaments. So that's why you're seeing them again. Hey, Devilotics at the top of the leaderboard again, 19,498, 16,366 TFS Robotic Unicorns, followed by Team A, Team B, 19,500, 19,532. Oh, First Dave puts up a good point in chat. Liquid Tabs probably connected to the dishwashers, Liquid Tabs, dishwasher, everything like that. It's like Tide Pods, don't eat them. 19,532 Team B Inspire Award. 16,366 TFS Robotics Unicorns, and 19,485 Robotics FTC, 19,485. And we got 19,532, 16,366, 19,485, and 19,500 also advancing to provincials. Owen Sound First Tech Challenge Remote Qualifying Tournament. 19,533, the Unruly Salad is back, man. Not happy. Someone give that salad some dressing so it'll calm down. 19,474 Griffin Gold. 19,530 for the Motivate Award, UMEI Lightning Robotics. Innovate Award, 18,808 Chemical X. And 19,531 the Farmers. Connect Award, 19,487 Team Mindkey. Think, 16,488 Rams Robotics. 19,465 Chainbreakers. And 20,035 Cyber Barons. And our top ranked teams, Dr. X Academy, 16,417, followed by 18,808, 19,530, 19,487. And the Inspire Award also to Dr. X Academy, followed by Team Mindkey and Chemical X. And advancing to provincials, Dr. X, Team Mindkey, Chemical X, and UMEI Lightning Robotics. And now the Sudbury First Tech Challenge Remote Qualifying Tournament. There's a lot of tournaments. Judges Awards, Team 19,552, First Canada 52, a Singanak. Compass Award, 19,490, SMT Titans, the Titabots. Design Award, Lowell and Edit, Black and White, TFS Robotics Unicorns, UMEI Lightning Robotics. Motivate Award, 18,911, Waffles, and 18,158, the Futuristics. For those of you in chat who are waiting, the Everybot reveal will be happening in just a few minutes, just going through these FTC awards. Control Award, 16,397, Relatively Quantum, 18,433, Makeshift Tech, and 18,913 is Scanders. Innovate Award, 19,522, Probiotics, and 16,366 TFS Robotics Unicorn. Connect Award, 19,490, SMT Titans, the Titabots, 18,960 Lowell and Edit Yellow, and 18,911 Waffles. That's right, folks. Everybot's coming up in just a couple minutes here, just a couple more awards to get through, probably 746. 18,920 Robotic Storm, 16,366 TFS Robotics Unicorns, 18,913 is Scanders, and 16,397 Relatively Quantum. Inspire Award, 18,433 Makeshift Tech, congratulations, 18,960 Lowell and Edit, and 18,911 Waffles for second and third place. Teams advancing to provincials, Makeshift Tech, Lowell and Edit Yellow, Waffles, SMT Titans, the Titabots, and Probiotics. Finally, our last event, North York First Tech Challenge Remote Qualifying Event. Hey, congratulations, Miss Annetta, you won another Compass Award. Team 18,846 Brabotics, 16,413 Lowell and Edit Blue, 16,415 Lowell and Edit Orange take the Design Awards. Motivate Award, 19,447 the Electric Boogaloo. Keone, 19,523 with another Control Award. Brabotics in second place. Innovate Award to Dr. X Academy, 16,417. Cyber Barons, 20,035 Connect Award. 18,808 Chemical X Think Award. Top ranked teams at the event: FTC Alpha Dogs, Keone, Ice-T, and Braybotics. See, Ice-T would help wash down that unruly salad at that chili steak. Just saying. Inspire Award, FTC Alpha Dogs, Chemical X, and Keone. Congratulations to FTC Alpha Dogs on winning that big Inspire Award. And finally, advancing to provincials from this event: FTC Alpha Dogs, Cyber Barons, Team Titans 2, Electric Boogaloo, Low Ellen Edit Blue, and the RoboHawks. So that is all our FTC awards. Lisa, we talked about a bunch of teams, I think 32 who are advancing to provincials. When is this provincial championship happening?
So the provincial championships actually happening between February 5th to the 12th. The showcase is going to be on the 12th, which is a Saturday at 10 a.m. and it's going to be streamed here on our Twitch channel.
So, like, subscribe, follow, do all those good things, and we will see you on the 12th for some FTC goodness. But the moment you are all waiting for, we're going to be doing the unveil of the Everybot when we come back from this commercial break. Thank you, Lisa, for being on. It's always a joy. Lisa, how pumped are you for the Everybot?
I'm so excited. You've been hyping it up all afternoon.
I know. It's going to be so good. All right, let's take a look at this word from Rockwell Automation. All right, we're back. Michelle, let's go. You ready for this?
I am so excited. I know I've been on the edge of my seat all night.
I gotta stop this terrible habit I have where I get excited. I like to smack a desk or whatever, but I smack my laptop, but then that shakes like the USB and then my camera disconnects. So I want to avoid that. But I'm really, really excited. So not wasting any time here, let's bring out our guests, the Everybot crew from Team 118. Starting off with Jenna Kay first. She is a first alum of Team 3184, Blaze Robotics from Burnsville, Minnesota, current mentor of Team 118, alumni of the University of Minnesota Twin Cities, and a planning and integration specialist for the Office of Planning, Integration, and Environmental at NASA Johnson Space Center. You fancy, girl. You fancy.
Ooh, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for being here, Jenna. Next up, we got Ethan Reed, first alum and drive coach for Team 118. When did you become the drive coach, Ethan? When did that happen?
That's a new one. Stepping
That's
into
a new one.
this year.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
What happened to Ridley? What's going on?
Well, these past couple of years, the team structure has shifted a little bit. He's got family stuff going on.
He does have an adorable
he's
child.
Got two little kids now.
Oh,
we got all these young kids stepping up as mentors now, and I'm excited to fill this new role.
Well, Ethan, you're going to be fabulous at that. Ethan is a member of Team 118 as well from League City, Texas, currently studying mechanical engineering at the University of Houston and working at the mechanical engineering co-op at NASA's Johnson Space Center. And finally, we got Ryan Stockton, first alum and also mentor of Team 118. I probably didn't need to put that in there for each and every one of you. It's kind of here. Currently studying mechanical engineering, also at the University of Houston, and working as a robotics mechanical designer for lunar exploration rovers at NASA's JSC. How's it going, Ryan?
I'm doing good. Excited to be here.
So, we're doing the Everybot thing, but I got a question. You've been working on this like pretty nonstop. How exhausted are all of you?
We are all very exhausted. So it's a lot of work on the robot from 10 a.m. to 4 a.m. every day, work on documentation, work on CAD, work on software, work on building the field. And of course, we also all work with 118. So a lot going on.
And presumably NASA pays you to do something as well.
Yes, we also have real jobs.
Just like solar space exploration, that little thing on the side there that's going on. I remember when I did Build Blitz back in the day, it was like the 3 days just like doing a robot. It was just like how intense that was. And like, I still am trying to recover on lost sleep from that era. So it's wild. So this is great. Before we get started with Everybot, I want a quick quick question for each of you. What are your impressions of this year's game, Rapid React, presented by the Boeing Company? Start with
I
Ethan.
I love this game. I mean, it's one of the coolest games we've had in a few years. It's going to be
Right?
super fast paced. It's going to be heavily driver skill based. Depending on where the cargo bounces to, every match is going to look different. I am over the moon excited about this game.
It's a real efficiency challenge, which I think is it's cool.
Absolutely.
It's cool to have one of those things. Jenna, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I agree with Ethan. I think when we first saw it, we were like, oh my gosh, yes, this game rocks. There's a lot of cool strategy and defense that we can play. And like, we have a really cool design for Everybot based on the strategy for this game. So we're very excited about that.
And Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, I think the fact that this game doesn't have an extra challenge like a lot of the games have had, whether that's 2 different game pieces or the spinner in 2020, it's a much easier game to follow for viewers, and also simpler for both the high level and Everybot teams and anyone to build a robot for, because you can be a lot more focused on less robot functionality.
I think it's a pure game. There's not extra stuff tossed in. And like I remember in like the 2011, 2012, like 2010 to 2012 era, there was like a lot. It was always something. It's like, oh, there's this cool game, but then there's like this weird cooperation dynamic, or there's like mini bots racing up a pole or whatever. And this game is just like score balls, score cargo, go hang. Kind of like 2013 was with Rapid React, shoot frisbees, go hang. But there's so many other different discrete little things, which we're going to get into. So this is really exciting. I think a lot of people know what the Everybot's about, but I don't think everyone knows the true philosophy and stuff. So maybe if you want to walk us through what is the Everybot?
Yes, I would love to. I know we were here last year and we went over what Everybot was, so I'll be very quick because I know that people want to get into the video and the nitty-gritty of strategy and design. But overall, Everybot is a robot for FRC that is affordable, it's competitive, and it's elegant, and it is $1,000. So it is meant for just a whole different, group of people, and it can be built with nothing but basic tools. Items found in the kit of parts and purchased from local hardware stores or FRC retailers like AndyMark and Vex Pro. And then in addition to that, and we don't have it on our website yet, but once we do the reveal video and after the show, we're going to put a ton of resources on our website that we give to teams. And this includes like CAD and a bill of materials and a cut list and a reveal video. So we are trying to pump out resources as fast as we can. And we also, new to this year, have a Discord that is on our website right now if you want to join. All 3 of us are in there, including like other members of the Everybot team. And we are ready to answer questions, and other members of the community who are also building robots are ready to answer questions. So check that out.
All right, let's take a look at our next slide here. See what we got going on to talk about. And so Jenna talked a little bit about the mission. And so, I think if you think about FRC as a whole, we know that it is really hard to build a robot. And a lot of teams don't know where to start. I think the Everybot kind of gives that entry point for teams on where to start. Right, Ethan?
Absolutely. Yeah. So with a low cost and these 3 pillars that we have, it's affordable, it's competitive, and it's elegant. Those 3 things are really what you should be striving for at the beginning when you're just getting into FRC.
Yeah, and there's a cool little question in chat. Someone's like, $1,000 is very steep for a not-for-profit organization. Makes you think what FRC's intentions are. But like, you're not paying this to first. You're buying from local suppliers and the stuff, And the whole idea of the Everybot mission is to come up with a way to like lower costs for teams, but in a way where you're not skimping on robot quality. So let's just take a look at our next slide. And I guess it's time. So before we do this, Michelle, are you ready?
I am ready. I have been waiting. I'm so excited.
Ethan, Ryan, Jenna, anything you want to say before we show off this video?
We're excited to share it. Let's go.
All
Wow,
right,
we're pumped.
now
Let's go.
introducing the 2022 Everybot. All right. I have many things I want to talk about because that was awesome. And I'm not going to try and distract because otherwise I'll just be talking about the hang, and that's all I'm going to want to talk about. But that is really, really cool. So, wow, Michelle, what do you think?
Oh my gosh. Number one, I loved how the video went with the music. I love when things like that happen. So, and I just want to talk about the hang too. When I see that, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so smart. So
Super, super smart. So, let's talk about this. Tyler, you can bring up those slides, but I want to start at the beginning. And for anyone who knows me, you know what that means. Let's talk strategic design. Why did you choose the functionality and subsystems that you did?
Yeah, so I will start with that one. The Robonauts do something called a robot can list and then a robot will list. And so Everybot kind of does something similar. And this is our robot will list, which includes, scoring one preloaded cargo in the hub, taxiing, picking up cargo from the floor, holding cargo, hanging on the mid rung, and then playing defense. And there was a lot of thought that went into this list. So we first started thinking about a shooter, and we knew we could do it under budget, but having teams tune a shooter at tournaments can be really difficult. So we went for a more robust low goal shooter. And then after that, we identified what an alliance would look like on both a regional and a district level, and also a championship level. And we specifically looked at like what that third robot in that alliance would look like. And then in general, like, on a champs level, there are going to be so few pieces of cargo that you don't really want that third robot handling cargo, which is, one of the reasons why we designed it how we did, to play a little defense. Then overall, like I said, it's going to be a heavily defensive game. So we need a really robust design to play full defense, and it will definitely not be spending time like shooting into that high hub slowly. And, it's all about cargo keep away, and that's what we built for. And the cool hang, of course, which, we'll get to, but.
So the big question that a lot of people will ask is, wait a second, you're not scoring high. That's like the main objective of this game. How can you not do that? And is my team going to be terrible if I don't score high? Everyone's telling me I have to score high. I'm sorry.
So we considered that pretty heavily at the beginning. Looking at what, like the level of play that we want to play at is the finals at a regional or a district event, and then have a place on an alliance at championships. We believe that to play in the finals at a district event, what you're going to need to do is get a bunch of ranking points and seed high. So this robot is well positioned to score both of the bonus ranking points, both from the hang and the cargo bonus. So that'll help it seed high, and then teams that build an Everybot will potentially be able to captain their own alliance or be a first pick on a very high seeded alliance. And then at the championship level, we think it's a pretty reasonable goal that team building an Everybot should try to play on an alliance of champs, which is very steep. There are not a lot of teams that get to that point, but this robot we think has that capability, especially in that third robot role. That third robot role we don't think is going to be shooting high, because the captain and the first pick on an alliance are going to be starved of cargo. Basically, there's only 11 cargo per alliance. If each robot's directly interacting with 2 at any given time, that's 4 that are off the table. There's only another 7 balls that are going to be on the field. So we don't think that it's going to be as beneficial to that alliance for the third robot to be taking their time picking up balls and shooting, rather than going and having a huge effect on the other alliance by negating the balls that they were going to be able to score.
I'm going to come back to this because I do have some thoughts on high versus low that we can talk to, but I want to get through the other stuff. And we got some questions from chat coming, so we've got some good stuff. So Tyler, let's take a look at the next slide. And so affordable, competitive, elegant. That's your motto, right? So tell us about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that is the 3 things that we try to center the program around. We thought about this for a while, and we're like, what words describe our goal? The first one being affordable. Just based on this year, like we said, it's $1,000. I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but 1,016. Is that correct, Ryan?
Yeah, I think it's down to $1,002 after hunting for some cheaper alternatives. But
and for
inflation hits.
Yeah, for our Canadian audience, that is US dollars, but you can find almost all these equivalents from, because I saw the bill of materials. A lot of it's Home Depot sourced, a lot of it's PVC heavy and stuff, so you can get this stuff locally.
Good point. Yeah, so that's really funny. We were talking about that, and we're like, we made affordable green, and then we're like, wait, is Canadian money green? And we had an internal debate about that. We were like, oh no, the symbolism.
So Canadian money comes in all sorts of colors. We do
Okay.
have some
Yeah.
green. You can see
Okay,
there.
well then.
But we also have some red, and like there's like holograms and see-through stuff going on, and there's
Blue, brown.
yeah,
Oh,
we got
pretty.
C notes come in gold, which I think is very appropriate. But I don't think the audience is here to talk about Canadian
Sorry,
money.
I just thought that was a funny comment. But like you said, we are, we wanted to avoid using box tubing, or I'm sorry, we did use box tubing because we didn't want to use the Vex Versa frame because we thought that that was a little overpriced for what it was. So we used box tubing from Home Depot and Andy Mark, and I'm sure you can get it from local suppliers. And then we are also very PVC heavy, rather than polycarb or aluminum, which dramatically reduces costs. And then our climb build. If your team owns a router, you should definitely cut some of those climbing hooks and give them to teams in your area. They are made out of like 3/4 thick maple, which is the same as the bumpers, which was very intentional. And yeah, so that is the affordable aspect, along with a couple of other things that you'll see in the BOM, the bill of materials. And then for competitive, pretty straightforward. We picked our goal for what level of play we wanted, which is, we built a robot for the exact objective to make it the level of competitive that we want the Everybots to be, which Ethan kind of explained, which is, playing on the Champs Alliance. And then elegant. When we say elegant, we mean like elegant design and that it's simple yet effective. And you kind of mentioned like old FRC robots, I think. And then that's kind of like what we go for, and then our simple hang mechanism, as you guys saw, I know the chat's very excited about, which is passively activated by driving in ramps. We didn't throw a very complicated mechanism on there. So people, I'm sure we're going to see a lot of teams copying that or like doing some variation of that, which is going to be super, super fun and cool to watch. And then lastly, we only have 2 actuators for the entire robot in terms of scoring mechanisms, which like is only 2 motors in addition to the drivetrain, which is pretty cool.
Unheard of. It's just so unheard of in this era where people are all talking about, oh no, my PDP it only has 20 slots. I can't. What am I gonna do? Just it's elegant. It's simple. It plays the game. It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. Tyler,
every year we try to have as few actuators in addition to the drivetrain as possible. Last year, or the 2020 and 2021 season, we just could not get that down to 2 actuators. We decided you pretty much had to have at least 3 motors and 3 gearboxes to play the game at a pretty reasonable level. Fortunately, this year, the game is pretty straightforward, and we were able to come up with a mechanism for hanging that didn't take any motors. So we could dedicate 1 motor to the arm, 1 motor to the intake, and done. That's all you got to build.
It's beautiful. Tyler, let's see the next slide here. All right, so the alliance strategy, and we're going to get back to subsystems and all that stuff. Don't worry, folks. We're going to go do a deep dive, but kind of explain the flow of a match for an Everybot.
So this is based heavily on the robot will list that we came up with. In autonomous, what you need to do is start squared up, centered on one of the walls of the hub. You're going to spit your preloaded cargo, and then you're going to taxi, which means just drive outside of the tarmac. That's that taped off area that's kind of awkward looking. Drive outside of that, and that scores you 4 points for getting the cargo in low, and 2 points, and 4 points total, 2 for the cargo low and 2 for taxiing. In teleop, you just chase down cargo that's your color and go score it. Don't fall into the trap of trying to pick up 2 cargo at a time. If there's not a cargo nearby, pick up 1 and just spit it in the low, and then find your next ball after that. At the championship level, we think that an Everybot is going to be playing a lot of defense, and some of it could be traditional defense and just kind of bumping robots when they're going to the position that they want to shoot from. But this game also gives a pretty strong incentive for deprivation of game pieces from the other alliance. In the reveal video, one of the shots is Everybot picks up 2 pieces of cargo and places them on the floor, on the wall next to the hub. Well, that's one of the very few dead zones on the field where the other drivers can't really see it unless they have a camera on their robot and they take the time to go over there. So if Everybot places 2 cargo behind there, picks up an additional 2, and then goes and plays bully defense, well, now there are 4 game pieces from the other alliance that are out of play, and one of their shooters is getting constantly dogged by a defensive robot. So that I cannot overstate how important that is for an alliance. And then when it comes to the end of the match, just go line up, make sure you hit the bar at a steady speed. Don't go too fast. Make sure you're squared up and just coordinate with your alliance. Your alliance is probably going to have all 3 robots trying to go hang in the hangar. Make sure that you've talked to your partners and that you all come in from the right direction and come in at the right time to get everybody up on the bars. That's especially important for getting your ranking point and qualifications. And it's just free points that the other alliance can't really deny you during eliminations.
I want to go back to the depriving cargo piece, because I think that's something that is a discrete point of this game that a lot of people have missed, is that normally you're trying to control the flow of your match. That's just a thing that a lot of drive coaches talk about. Let's control the flow of the match. Let's control the flow of the match with cycling of pieces and the such. This year, you actually probably have a little bit more control over your opponent's flow by being able to isolate game pieces, by being able to shut things down. And like you said, you can take 2 of their pieces, you can punt 2 of their pieces into a location that's hard to get to. That cuts them down to 7, where, 4 might be in robots, but then there's going to be some that are always stuck processing, which is going to take time. They say 5 to 7 seconds there. And there's like a real control. And so also, you might be like, oh, well, there's still going to be excess game pieces. So they have 7 to 4, but where their game pieces are to a certain degree, the ones that are coming out of processing. So as a defender, you also know where they're going to be going next. And that is so, so crucial. If as a defender, you know where they're going before they know where they're going, you have won the battle there. And that's how you play effective defense. So there's just like little things that you can do with this robot, this design. And also, if you don't go with this design, you can still do things with this strategy. Like this is just like universal smart strategy. So Tyler, let's see what's next. All right. So a couple of these linkages, does someone want to talk to them?
Yeah, so on this picture on the left, there's a linkage inside of the arm, which from a mechanical design perspective, it decreases the torque on this really long arm. So the arm that destows and comes down to pick up the cargo and then lifts up to the height of the lower hub is really long. And we've had trouble in the past when we've tried to build cheap mechanisms with high torque. So we took the motor and we brought it to the center of the robot and had a high torque actuator down there using nice and robust number 35 chain. And that linkage gives greater mechanical advantage for lifting the arm, but it also, the geometry of it kind of over centers. So the linkage comes past its center point and locks in when it's at the high level. So that negates the need for software to hold the arm up due to the gravity trying to pull it down. And it lets you start the match with it up without having to hold it up with Velcro or anything wacky like that.
Hold up. You really snuck an over center linkage in there?
Yeah. So we took it from, there were some Vex robots a couple of years ago in Tower Takeover and VRC where everybody pretty much had that linkage in order to get that pivot point as far forward and as low as they could. Well, it was kind of the same thing here. In order to get the intake geometry to come up and not swing too deep into the robot where you have to shoot the balls too far, we needed the pivot point really, really far back. So we put it all the way back there and used the over center and a couple of
what I mean about old school FRC. Because like nowadays, everyone's just going to be like, oh yeah, there's a PID loop and this control or whatever. But like sometimes you don't want software to solve the problem. You want it to be simpler. And just to find a cute mechanical solution with a couple pieces of box tube and that is so smart. That is just so smart. And we haven't even gotten to the passive climber, which I think someone's going to talk about.
Yeah, so the passive climber, we were really excited whenever we figured out this works. So we knew we could build something like we built in 2020, the PVC extending hook, and that was pretty simple, but this is even simpler than that. So in the robot wheel, we said we will climb on the mid rung. And people were asking us, will you climb on the low rung? We said, well, strategically, we don't think that's as important as the mid rung, but if it comes for free, we'll do it. Well, it came for free. We were able to integrate it all into the same piece of wood, the same mechanism. And so if you drive the robot one way, it clips onto the low bar passively. And if you drive it the other way, it deploys the hooks when it hits the low bar and climbs on the mid bar. And someone asked in chat, what happens if you deploy them in the match? Well, if you drive through the low bar and deploy the hooks, say you're getting a piece of cargo that's underneath there. Well, when you drive back out, the hooks just stow again anyway. So you're able to extend in that zone and it stows the hooks again whenever you drive back out of the zone. So that works out pretty well for us. So
to be clear for the audience, it's not a one-time release. Like many end game mechanisms have been for many teams in the past. This is it'll go back down or whatever. So that's super smart. Sorry, Ryan.
Yeah. So one of the things in the bill of materials, which is somewhat pricey, is a big stick of steel. This is used to tune the center of gravity so that the robot doesn't touch the ground when it's hanging backwards in the low rung configuration or forwards in the mid rung configuration. So teams don't have to buy all that big chunk of steel. They can use anything they have laying around that's heavy, fit in the back of the robot. We think pennies actually might be the cheapest option if you're in the United States to get that much weight, but we did not put that on our robot.
Just throwing that out there. It'll be hard in Canada because we don't have the penny anymore. It's out of circulation. But I do have a stockpile of them for any teams, and I will sell to the highest bidder.
Yeah. So the passive climber, we think, like Jenna mentioned earlier, we saw a bunch of Everybot climbers on 2020 robots, even high goal turret shooting robots from 2020. They were like, well, we'll just put an Everybot climber on there because it works. And we think you'll see something similar here. And Jenna also mentioned cutting them out with a router, giving them to teams if you have a router. We're also going to have one-to-one drawings you can print out, glue to a piece of wood, cut out with a jigsaw and a hole saw. So if you don't have that, don't worry, you can still make them. Yeah, so that's pretty much everything about the climber.
The climber is just like wild to me because I think everyone has been thinking this season, there's an easy, passive, low hang available in this game. And not many folks, I don't know any folks who were thinking of a passive mid climb. And so that you've unlocked this portion of the game, that's a game changer. And like every season, there's like little game changers that happen when teams release things. This is one of them. And we're going to see, it just makes so much sense to do it and not drop, like a COTS, $400 extent telescoping arm that's like way overbuilt for this sort of purpose. This makes so much sense. I love it. Okay, tell me about these renders.
Yeah, so this is the CAD of the robot. We try to CAD the robot every year in as great of detail as possible, so that teams can either use this or use the build documentation. This will be uploaded to GrabCAD right after the show. So even if you don't have CAD, you can view it in their 3D viewer. You can measure things. You can rotate it around, get an idea for the robot. So it's pretty much as complete as possible. And this, along with the bill of materials and the build documentation we're going to release later in the week once we finish creating it, should allow teams to pretty much find out everything they need to know about the robot and its design.
All right. Is there another slide or?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Here we go. So yeah, this is something when brainstorming robot designs, it's something I think about a lot. It's like, what's the floor? What's the ceiling? Like what happens, if you build this robot at the very last minute and you just get it to competition, or what happens if you can get this done early, you have a lot of time for practice and whatever. And what's the range? Because there's some robots out there that have like really low floors, but high ceilings, because a lot can go wrong because it's so complicated, but a lot can go right. And there's other robots which have things more compressed. So tell me about what you think the floor and the ceiling is.
Yeah, so FRC is really hard. I would say this year it's even harder than it's ever been because of COVID and teams not able to meet. So the floor most years is to just score game pieces. I think this year it's even harder to do that. I say the floor with Everybot is that you can get out there with a functional robot that contributes to your alliance. The low goal in this game is a lot higher than it's been in previous years. And I think teams are going to struggle to even score in the low goal at times. So hopefully this resource will allow you to build that quickly, the arm and the intake. That's probably the most important mechanisms on the robot, and just score some points, contribute to the alliance, have fun playing the game. And the ceiling is far beyond that. I am fully convinced that at championships, I want this robot as my third robot, and I'm going for a championship win. I think this robot has a place on an alliance that plays on Einstein even.
So Ethan, I'll straight up ask you, as like a drive coach for a team that traditionally, is in a position to be a captain at championship and be on Einstein alliances, would you feel comfortable picking an Everybot?
Right now, having not seen the game played much, yes, absolutely. Okay. And having built the robot myself as well.
Was there, but yeah, no, I mean, like, I think a lot of people go into, this is like a big philosophical discussion, but like, hey, why not? I think a lot of people go into championship not really focused on a goal. I think there's like an esoteric goal of we want to do well, but I think a lot of teams come in with a regional mindset, and then a lot of teams get very upset because that regional mindset didn't play at championship. Because there's some games, 2013 Ultimate Ascent was one where it was just like you needed 3 scorers. That's just the way the game was, and it's not this 2-1. But in games where you have like the 2 offense plus 1 defense strategy, like things really do shift. And for a robot that can help improve their seeding playing offense, can be useful to an alliance for some extra points if needed for pickup, but can play strategic defense and can play it smart, and also has a robot that's not going to fail because it's so simple. There's just a recipe that's like the classic champs second bot. So it's really cool.
Absolutely.
Hey,
I think this game is super cool that it gives that opportunity. You can come in with a low resource robot and still, have the expectation that you're going to have a place on Alliance. It's not, oh, I don't have enough money, I'm not going to get picked. Well, I think that's not true this year.
for sure. Michelle, what do you think about all this?
Wow. I think it's a bit more of a, simpler game. And, this is a simple and elegant robot as well. So I think that's a perfect match, just as you were just saying. So I think it's really awesome. And, as Karthik just said, it's the passive second bar, the mid rung, sorry, the passive mid rung climbing. That's like a whole new world. When I saw that, I was like, my mind exploded to a ton of new possibilities. So
I mean, like, you could also make your robot jump to like the mid bar, but like there's other things going on. But this is wicked. So I think are there any more slides, Jenna? Or are we?
Yeah.
Upgrades.
So
Yes. Let's talk about upgrades.
Yeah, so one of the potential upgrades would be putting Neo brushless motors on the drivetrain. Rev included 2 Spark Maxes in the rookie kit and 2 Spark Maxes in the kit that everyone gets. So that's why we use them on a drivetrain, despite the fact that Everybot has sims. Spark Maxes can drive brushed motors, and since they gave us 4 motor controllers, and we also got 4 sims in the kit, that's why we're using those on the drive. But upgrading Neos is a good option, and the motor controllers are the most expensive part of a brushless setup, so you already get those. But what this really is crucial for is not just that you have more power, because the Neos are more efficient, higher power motors, but you have the integrated sensors in the Neos, so you can write more robust autonomous routines instead of just using time statements like we currently are. And that leads into upgrade number 2 that Ethan's going to talk about, which is an autonomous that hoards your alliance balls.
Yeah, so in our reveal video, we show a clip of what we think an Auton should be for an Everybot, and it doesn't do much. It spits the ball out, it backs up out of the tarmac, and it sits there. There's a lot of time left over in the 15-second autonomous period that the coders on your team can go crazy with. There's not a lot of cargo on your side of the field that's your color, but there is quite a bit that's the opponent's color. And if you ensure that every match going into teleop, the opponent's cargo is in a corner somewhere that they have to drive really far to get, that's probably going to decrease their cargo scoring by at least 1 piece of cargo every single match, which is a big deal. So if you can spit your 1 preloaded cargo, back up, turn, pick up the opponent's cargo, turn again, and then spit it into the corner, potentially under the hanger, that's much further that they have to drive to get that piece of cargo, and that's going to decrease their scoring potential by more than it seems.
Yeah, so the other upgrade we thought about is making the hooks out of polycarbonate. So they're out of wood. We've put them through quite a lot of abuse, running full speed into the climbing bars, and they're just fine. And there's an important distinction is that this is pretty high quality plywood, and that we include it in the bill of materials. It's 3/4 inch maple. It's like 7 plies. You don't want to be using OSB or MDF or stuff that wants to splinter and chip like that, or even low grade plywood. So included in the $1,000 budget is pretty high quality plywood, and that also is used on the bumpers. So you want some pretty robust bumpers as well. So just in general, every year you should use as high quality plywood on your bumpers as you can afford. It makes things a lot easier, and it makes it a lot more robust. But making the hooks out of polycarbonate, probably 1/4 inch polycarb, or maybe in 2 sheets of polycarb sandwiched together, will make it more robust. It'll allow you to be more aggressive when climbing and just never worry about the hooks breaking. So like I said, we haven't broken them, but we could see some really full speed across the field climbs that could damage them depending on the quality of plywood you're using.
Right.
And so we can go on to the next slide. And yeah, so Everybot can be built with very, very simple tools. Hand drill, hacksaw, jigsaw, and a hand rivet squeezer that's like $8 at Harbor Freight if you wish to buy one there. So you don't even need a bandsaw, horizontal bandsaw. not even a drill press. And we built it with all those same tools. Well, even though we have access to more advanced tools, we make sure that it can be built the way we say it can be built. And this is also really useful for teams who, maybe they don't have access to their facility because of COVID. Maybe they have to work at home, or, maybe a team's dropping off the kit chassis at one student's house to put it together, and they're dropping off a bunch of box tubes to be cut at another student's house. And small teams, if you can't, if you have only a few members on your team, or you're not allowed to meet in large groups due to whatever local regulations you have, it's pretty simple that it can be built with a small group. And our Everybot crew is about 8 to 10 people, and it definitely can be built with less people now that the design exists and is published. So yeah, that's how we do it, and that's how we've done it every year. And we really want to make sure that it can be built with very simple tools.
That's amazing, because it just plays to the accessibility. All right, thanks for the slides. And so let's talk a little bit more about this. Actually, I want to get to some of the questions from chat. One is, the ball hold is very tight. Couldn't tell. Does it move the first ball over on the rollers, or how is there guaranteed space for two?
Yeah, so I can answer that one. The PVC kind of standoffs that reach between the box tubes on the sides are spaced such that it has nice compression as it comes up and around the roller. But once it gets above the roller, there's about an inch of play that it has in there. So the ball kind of popcorns around, bounces around in there, and it can slide to the side very easily. These pieces of cargo are significantly easier to handle than previous game pieces, and the roller is placed in a location such that when it touches the next piece of cargo, it can be directly behind a cargo that's already in the intake, and the one that's up in the top slides to the side, making room for the second one to come up.
That's smart. That's a really nice touch right there. What if your driver accidentally intakes opposing cargo? I think this means like while you already have one of you got a red cargo, you're on the red alliance, and you accidentally get a blue one. Is there any way of just spitting out the blue one?
So no, there's no way to spit out just a singular ball. That's something that when you get the opportunity to practice driving, you want to go for 2 pieces of cargo of the same color. If you end up picking up 2 of the opponent's color, just go spin them under the hanger. If you end up with 2 of yours, go dump them in the low hub.
Someone's already seen the BOM. How could the drivetrain BOM features 4 sim motors and 4 Spark Maxes? I think that's because the Spark Max has 2 modes, and you can just pop it into brushed mode, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So we also use a Spark Max and a Neo on the arm. So there is already a brushless motor on the robot, and that's because using the Rev voucher, buying another Spark Max and using the Neo that was included in the rookie kit was actually cheaper than buying a sim and a brushed motor controller for the arm. And since we got 4 identical controllers, which you want to use the same identical controllers on your drivetrain, you don't want to have a mix match of motor controllers. Just makes things a little more difficult. We use the 4 that came in the kit, the 4 Spark Maxes on the drivetrain with the sims, and that also gives teams an avenue for $200 more if they want to upgrade to Neos. They can do that.
Comment in chat. Yes, exactly. I really like how the intake doesn't need $10 pieces. Can I just say something about your intake? I am just like, everyone kind of has an idea. It's like, oh, okay, I've got to build an intake. So give me like 15 compliant wheels and 15 Mecanum wheels, and that's the solution. And it's like, suddenly you just spent like $400. And I'm like, what just happened? Like, I'm okay with just a single roller that does the trick, like, especially because you're not indexing. There's no reason to index. Like, it's just, why did intakes get drunk over the last 4 years? And it's suddenly like just all these wheels everywhere, and like they're expensive, right? Like
We take a hex shaft, 2 hubs at the ends, and a piece of PVC that goes on the hubs, wrap some foam around it, wrap that in grippy linerless rubber splicing tape. And that's it, done.
It's done. It's easy. You can have spares. It's all good. It's just like, it super makes sense. Other questions we have here. I think you hit some of this. Whoa, okay, size just changed. Here's one. Could you replace the springs on the passive climber with pneumatics?
So the springs reach around the pivot point. Actually, they swing through the pivot point. So the way it's laid out right now, you wouldn't want to drop it in directly where it is. But you could reach around the other side of the linkage potentially and swing it up if you decided to go that route. But the spring is placed in such a way that when the hooks are down and stowed so that you can drive around, the spring is preloading it down. It's not going to pop up. And then when you drive onto the low rung, lifts it up, the moment arm goes to 0, and then it starts going in the other direction, and then the springs pull it and it flips up to hang on the mid rung.
That makes a lot of sense. Drivetrain configuration, is this long or wide or?
Yeah,
This is
so this,
the long configuration, but cut a little bit narrower to give some space to make sure the robot fits within the 120-inch frame perimeter.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so going backwards a little bit, we talked about low goal versus high goal, and you talked a lot about the different levels of alliance and whatever, but I'm wondering, for a team with a very solid Everybot, is there a chance that they can put up a better point performance than an average high goal scorer if you factor in shooting percentage and number of cycles? And I think I have an answer to this, because also I think that it's easier to get balls that are exiting the low hub because of how they exit and where they exit. They're coming from a more controlled locale as opposed to the high. But I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think absolutely. A team that has been practicing scoring in the lower hub is going to be able to outscore the average high scoring hub or high scoring robot by a significant margin. That, in addition to the set number of cargo that you need to get the bonus ranking objective, I think you're going to see a lot of teams that like powerhouse teams that every year shoot in the high hub are going to be going for the low goal this year even. And this robot, this Everybot that we built with good driver practice is, I think, more than capable of scoring that bonus ranking point in matches with just a little bit of help from partners.
Yeah, I don't know. Ryan, Jenna, Michelle, what do you think?
yeah, I'll add on to that. So this is, as far as an Everybot effectiveness, in 2020, or well, I guess it's really 2021, we competed at Texas Cup with our Everybot from that game. And so Ethan was drive coach there, and they had some real success with 2 Everybots and an average high goal shooter beating an alliance with multiple high goal shooters in eliminations. So it's all about good coaching, good driving, making the right decisions on the field. And like Ethan said, it really is just driver practice. That's why, building the robot as quick as possible, no matter how complicated it is really, really important. So if you have a high goal shooter that you finish, well, you don't even have to worry about bag day now. If you finish it a week before your first tournament, you're probably going to perform worse than an Everybot that was built and finished at the end of week 3, week 4 build season and has 3 or 4 weeks of driver practice. So, and especially with, these teams, a lot of teams haven't competed over the last couple of years and have students who probably have never driven a robot before, or definitely not an FRC robot in a full season even. So a lot of teams are missing that experienced drivers that they need to perform well. So practicing with any robot is really critical.
The other thing I just thought of, like, your controls are so easy. There's only 2 actuators. It's like, just like, there you go. I don't play video games. This is more like a Jenna thing, probably. Like, but it's like, those L1, L2, R1, R2. Is that what they're called? Like,
the triggers on one side of the controller are the intake in and out. On the other side, the arm up and down. And the arm is controlled despite not having any sensors on it. You press the button, it goes down. You press the other button, it goes up. There's none of this finagling it to get it in the right position, which our software crew did a good job to get that this year. And another thing about Everybots is in 2020, 148, Spectrum, 3847, Paradox, 5414, all these teams around us, they built Everybots like week 2 and week 3 to have their drivers practice because they didn't have their competition robots done by then. And so it's helpful even no matter where you are on the performance spectrum.
I want to do some rapid fire questions just from chat because we are coming down to the end of it, but I want to try and get to people's questions. How does it handle when driven? Is it a little tippy?
So it's got weight attached to it that's a little bit high. If we had more time, we probably would have attached it lower. I was able to go full speed backwards, reverse, and go full speed forwards, and I wasn't able to tip it. Maybe if you hit another robot, you might be able to do it. So be a little careful there.
That's been wild talking about, because everyone was held up on like, what can we use instead of a steel block? And they were talking like lead shot and PVC pipes. Like, please,
It is
please.
very funny. Like I've been reading chat and all the ballast conversations are like, and then it's just you being like, please don't do that, guys.
Yeah.
Like,
So I was like,
don't do that.
I got, like, and hey, we've put a lot of weird ballast on teams. We once actually put a vice on a robot, which initially we just tightened the vice on, and like Al was like, you cannot do that. I'm like, what? It's tight. Like, just make it a little tighter. But yeah.
I love that.
What are your thoughts about using, if you were to do a team was to do an upgrade, swapping from tank drive to Mechanum?
I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay, that's a good rapid fire answer. What about putting an Everybot on top of a swerve drive?
It'd be cool if your team knows how to do a swerve drive, go for it. We've seen Everybot upper bodies built on swerve drives in previous years, and they've been awesome. But
Yeah.
make sure you know what you're doing before you go for that.
Yeah, and I will say that one thing with Swerve now is that with the new modules released by SDS and by West Coast Products, the mechanical portion of just getting a frame together becomes a little bit easier. It's just like literally just 4 tubes and then like bolt in place and whatever. Then everything else is like another adventure. But just saying on that. And of course, it wouldn't be a chat with 118 folks without someone wanting a leak or something. Foreshadowing of the 118 robot, low scoring.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Exactly.
We
Like,
plead the fifth.
do you really think they're going to get something good? They work for NASA. They actually know if aliens exist. So we're not going to get that out of them. We're not going to get what their robot's going to do. By the way, if you want to talk about the alien thing ever, like, I'm here for
I was gonna say we'd probably tell you about aliens before we tell you about 118's plans. So
because
like,
they exist. She confirmed it. They exist.
don't fire me, NASA, please. Joke, it's a joke.
It's all good. It's all good. No one's going to be knocking at our door or something. They can't get to my door. It's snowed in. Huh, take that.
Perfect.
Hey, Jenna Kay, Ethan, Ryan, this was fabulous. Thank you so much, not just for coming on the show. Coming on the show was great and all. This is a resource for now in its 4th year that has changed FRC. It has honestly changed the landscape of this program. So many individual teams have been affected by it, but there's a lot of talk about FRC as a program and it's too expensive. And I think we agree that, yeah, it can be costly at times. And we also all agree the importance of getting as many kids access to this program. Because like, look what it's done for all of us. And like, Michelle, you're in the midst of it and look what it's doing for you. But how do we get more people access? How do we reach the communities that we need to be reaching? And things like the Everybot actually help and change the landscape of this and change the impression of this. So, and I know it's not just the 3 of you. There's a big group of people there. I know Lucian starting this from the beginning and everything. But thanks to all of you for putting this together. This is super, super awesome. If people want to reach you, your Discord is the best place for them to go?
Yes, correct.
All right. Yeah, because we need more Discord addicts in this world. That's going to be really good. And anything else you want to say to wrap this up?
I don't think so. We're really excited to see all the Everybots, and I know we go through all of the footage for every competition looking for Everybots, which is very funny always, but yeah, have a good season. Let us know if you need anything.
Yeah. Are you doing stickers and plaques or anything again? Because I know you were talking about that before. Sorry, did I just spoil something?
We're gonna try.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Ryan.
Spoiler alert. Flash that to the
Yeah.
camera again, Ryan.
Yeah, so we cut out these plaques in 2020, and then most of them got left at NASA when we got kicked out because of COVID. So eventually we'll be sending them back out again. We have this little thing on our website called the Everybot Club. We just ask that you send us a picture of your robot that we can include on our website, and we'll send you one of these Robonauts gold anodized plaques you can put on your robot, do whatever you want with.
That is so sick. That is
So cute.
That is awesome. I want to put one on my backpack. I don't know. That's pretty sweet. Hey,
Build an
Ethan,
Everybot and you can have one.
let's just go do one in my group. Someone, Michelle, you and me, we'll just go build an Everybot. Let's just
You could do it.
Yeah. All right, folks, thanks so much for coming on. Hey, and thanks for everyone who watched First Canada Live tonight. It's been a great show. Hey, next week, we got good stuff. We got Humber College coming on. We got Western University. We're going to be doing updates on the game, a little bit of discussion strategy of what's been going on there. Maybe we'll take a look at some video. I know Citrus Circuits released a 5-ball auto today. Like, what is happening? It's the 10th day of the season. What are y'all are wild. And we'll have the first Hall of Fame on the show to talk about Chairman's Award and some good tips for all that. So it's going to be great. Thanks so much. Hey, everyone, reminder to stay safe, wear your mask, get back. Hey, folks, Get your booster shot, Canadians. Only 27% of age 18 to 29 in Ontario have their booster yet. That's a large demographic who watches this show. Go get boosted, please,
I got
please.
mine.
Hey,
I'm
there you go,
also
Michelle. How
boosted.
are you feeling after yours?
I was feeling good, all
Awesome.
good.
That's great. You got the 5G hooked up. Hey, it's going to be good, everyone. Talk to everyone soon, and we will see you next week. Bye, everyone.